Endless Evolution is a community engaged in the exploration of human experience. We engage with one another to understand our unique paths. We talk, we laugh, we heal, and we invite others to share this journey with us. Won't you join us? Endless Evolution.
So many humans, and where's the humanity?
Well, it's good to be together.
Yeah,
And-
it's good to be together. Aaron, did you go to U of M too?
No, I didn't. I went to Wayne State.
Ah, Naomi, you know.
You gotta bring up Sharon Rory.
You already know. You already know it.
I didn't know that's where you were going with it.
Yeah, that's where. I was thinking about. Well, I was just gonna joke with Naomi. I was gonna joke with you both about if you went to U of M. But I'm not. No, I'm not. You know, it's all type of stuff on social media. I'm not a guy who's gonna call out people in public. I don't do that.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd roll off of that and just talk about relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought relationships. You know, that would be a conversation rather than,
Yeah.
dog.
Well, and speaking and throwing it back to that situation,
Yeah.
relationships come with a lot of layers, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
we don't even have the whole story. So
Yeah,
all these people go off around
You're going off.
commentaries and ideas around that relationship or whatever's happening there
Exactly.
when you don't know. And it just reminds me of how much we don't know what we don't, like we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what
You
we
know?
don't know. I just saw another thing about mental health. I just saw another article about mental health. So you don't know, but yeah, you're right. People jump at that. People jump at that for talking about all type of things, and so.
Well, and how much do we jump at each other in our own relationships,
Yeah.
and we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like what people are going through. I remember when I was a
That's
principal
exactly right.
at the academy, and kids would come in my office, typical middle school stuff. Well, she looked at me. I'm like, she looked at you.
Well, you're a beautiful girl.
I said, okay, but do you know maybe she's not even looking at you because of you, and maybe some shit went down at home? I mean, I didn't say that in my principal role, but that's what I want to say. So many things could have happened on the way to school, at the house over the last few days. Like maybe that look had nothing to do with you, and so maybe you should seek to understand the look, or just assume that it maybe wasn't meant for you if you don't think you have a beef before jumping. But we jump so easily.
We do.
We do.
You do.
I don't know. Maybe it's something about us as human beings. Like we're so used to moving so quickly and having to come to some sort of answer or conclusion very quickly about a lot of other things. Like it's hard for us to sit back and consider the possibilities. Yeah, like maybe when somebody does look at us, maybe they remind us of, their grandfather, or maybe like I daydream and look at people all the time, and I find them looking at, like, what are you looking at? I'm like, oh, I really wasn't actually looking at you. I just happened to be looking in your direction, and I was thinking about something totally different. Yeah, it's interesting that the question you asked about relationships and how we can do that very quickly with those who are closest. We do it with strangers for sure, but we do it with those who are closest to us too, because I don't know, I can speak for myself, and maybe this is, we've talked about this being therapeutic to some degree.
Yeah.
Like in a general sense, and I don't know if I even should say this out loud. A lot of times I'm like, well, I can say this because this, in the spirit of being honest and being direct, it's not going to cause her to leave or to.
Because you have trust, right?
Yeah. So I feel like I can be that way and many times I should temper my tongue or consider things in a different way before I speak.
Yeah, I feel I often wondered, especially growing up, like verbal abuse was common in a lot of environments where I grew up, right? Like not just my family, but like the larger family, joking at the cost of other people. Like it's just a common thing, right? And yet we would never, and culturally, we would never actually do that with a stranger. Like you give the stranger your best behavior, you're the most courteous, you're the most hospitable. And it never made sense to me why we treat those closest to us with the most disdain sometimes and the most, like, I don't want to say that we're negligent, but like we don't spend a lot of time and investment thinking about the words we use because of trust and because we think they're always going to be there and that unconditional love thing. Like as I grow older, I try to be kinder with those that actually matter to me more.
Yeah.
And I've found myself lately, it makes me laugh because I'm like, who is this person? Like being an absolute nightmare with strangers. And I'm like, I've never been that person, but I can feel something bubbling up in me, and my patience with situations just isn't what it is anymore. But I stop myself from taking it out on my family. And I don't take it out. I mean, I'm exaggerating, right? I'm not, but I'm definitely a lot less hospitable and courteous with strangers now than I am with my family and loved ones and friends, right? Like I want to take care of them. It's just an interesting shift I've noticed for myself.
I think to your point, to the point we were talking about what's in the news, and I think when we see all these people commenting, and all the memes and all the articles, and then whether it's black men with white women, or whether it's him and the Michigan State, I've seen all type of things. I think sometimes people jump at that because it deflects from their own shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You just gonna go off and go off and go off because it's popular. You get likes. You want to throw your 2 cents in. But it really is also deflecting from your own shit, and the lessons we can learn from it, or what can come out of it. Like, I mean, you really just talked about it. I was going to one of the questions I had. What keeps you true in your relationship? True to who you are. True to relationship. What keeps you true? Like, how do you navigate the ebbs and flows and still stay true in your relationship? Because like you said, it is every day. You know what I mean? It is marriage. It's every day.
Yes.
And familiarity, can it can be contempt. It can be, and it's I know that it's actual intentional choice to try to see someone new.
Right.
And I mean, it's cliche to see each day, but you try to see them as a new person, like you said, that stranger, or just a new person that they're growing, that they're involving. And what practices, or what do we do with ourselves and in ourselves to stay true, And when I say true, I'm not talking about this. People talk about, hey, marriage, you need to have trust. There's all this talk about marriage. But when I say true, I mean just honest. If it's gonna be one way to just true to your relationship, how do you what do you do to stay true, to yourself and to the relationship and to the other person?
That's a great question. Well, I think in truth sometimes, as you said, Aaron, like when you're talking, when you were sharing, I think it's like you let your guard down, and so truth allows you to be direct and brutal sometimes, and maybe not measure your words, and so I think to balance that, you also have to be reflective. I think self-awareness and reflective is probably one of the largest attributes to a successful relationship of any kind, whether it's romantic or friendship. Because if you're always looking out to the other person and this person didn't do this and this person didn't do that, you're never going to find the answer. So you got to look inward. Like, I do a ton of self-reflection. If Julie and I get in a fight, I'm upset. But in the end, I go inward so much. And what did I do? And what did I say? And why was I reacting like that? And what does that reflect back? And try not to just project it on she did this. I mean, in the moment of the fight, sometimes you point fingers and accuse each other of things, right? But in the trying to heal and come back together part, it's that self-reflection part.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real, Nate, when you talk about going inside and doing that, because, again, we don't know. We don't know about Shram, or we don't know what all surrounding that. We don't know what he was going through. We don't know what she was going through. We don't know any of that. But what we do know is that there's a choice. Like, some people, instead of going in to look at that, they take it outside their relationship. You know what I mean? They take it somewhere else, and that can be an emotional relation. That can be, talking to someone else about your relationship when you should be talking with the one you're in a relationship with. That can be all type of things. But I couldn't say that better than self-awareness and that reflection is going to, that's it. I think, it's part of it. Aaron, what are your thoughts, man, to stay true and stay there and stay present and stay there, basically,
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting when you asked that question, I started processing it right away, and it almost directly aligned with Naomi said. Like, I'm in this constant search of self, and in that, because maybe it's because as I was growing up, I wasn't I wasn't firm in who I was. I wasn't firm in my identity. And I may have told this story before because of where I grew up and what I liked. It wasn't what a black man was supposed to do or a black kid was supposed to do. And so I was always sort of like not not leaning into my identity. And so I was always putting on this mask in front of other people. Like, we get into this conversation about football, and I'm trying to recall whatever thing I know about football, but I don't watch it. And I think as I've gotten older, I'm in this constant search of this inward search of who I am, and how I remain true is I'm an introvert, and so I spend a lot of time doing that self-reflection and thinking about how I process the world. And the other thing is I surround myself with truth tellers. Um, and even if I don't want to hear the truth that they have to give me, I need it and I want it. And many times I don't, if someone's telling me about myself, I don't want to hear it. But um, but that's so important because, you've heard the line, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. And the moment somebody tries to, bullshit me, like I'm out the door. I don't want to even talk to you anymore. Versus somebody in their authentic, loving truth to me is only meant to help me be better. And so I have a small circle of friends and they're truth tellers. And anybody who we as human beings, we all lie. But what I mean by somebody who is an honest person with integrity. And so in that vein, I want to be challenged and I want to be among people who are okay with me challenging them. And that to me is an authentic relationship, an authentic friendship when you say, hey man, you screwed up, and then y'all remain friends afterward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may not want to hear it in that moment because when I go off by myself and I'm thinking about a certain thing, I'm like, oh, it should be done this way. And you know, I my soundboards here are, Blake and Tiff, where I'm like, I've been thinking about, and they will give me their honest opinion.
Yeah.
And sometimes I might not like it, even though I asked them the question. You know what I mean? Um, and so um that's I venture way off your question, but I think
Yeah.
when I think about how I remain honest and true, it's because of those things. The moment somebody lets me believe my own bullshit, that's
Yeah.
that's when that person is not that it's their responsibility,
Yeah.
but that person is not doing me any good service by not challenging me.
Yeah.
And those are the friendships that I cherish most, and those are the relationships I cherish most. The people that I know that are gonna speak with integrity and love and truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting because when we were talking, um, I know this is about relationships and the personal, but it makes me think like the mirror is a hard thing for a lot of people, but that's something that it's the cultural modeling that we've received and the indoctrination and socialization that we've received of not looking in the mirror as a country and as a society. And when we have our own problems, we don't go inside and try and figure it out. We, like you said, Spence, project outward and go to other people
Yeah.
and just kind of, project all of our issues on others. We've done this for centuries, right? So it's interesting because when I think like why I identify with certain people from certain cultures or certain ways of being, it's because it's possible that they came up in a culture that was very honest and that was very reflective and that was about truth telling. And so those people I just vibrationally am drawn to so much more than people who are like, keep the dirty laundry on the inside, don't air out the issues, and project all this other stuff. It's like I'm repelled by some of those people, and I'm drawn to the ones who are truth tellers. So it just made me think culturally, like what makes us spin, and how do we land on that truth telling?
Yeah. That mirror, Naomi, is so important when when I think about. Can you all hear me?
Mhm.
Oh, I think you turned your. Oh, I thought. Okay, I thought my mic went off.
No, I just
thought
muted
my mic-
myself to
Yeah,
avoid
yeah, and I thought. When I think about that mirror. That's really it for me. And one of the reasons, just being transparent, one of the reasons, I can't and I won't. I mean, stuff that happens in the news. I remember one time I did write something about P. Diddy. I put something out there, when that video came out or whatever. And so, I just was moved to do that. But I don't because the truth is, whatever space Ashram Moore's in one way or another, we've all been there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Now we might not have done. I don't say we've done the same thing,
Mhm.
but I know that I've been there, right? I know what it feels like to be untrue. You know, I know what it feels like to be in a marriage when I was 26 years old and was untrue and not true to myself. I know what that can do. I know what that does to your soul.
Mhm.
I know what it does to your soul. And so like that reflection in that mirror, now it's like, and I'm sure age has a lot to do with it too. It's like I have to like who I see in the mirror. I
Yeah.
have to I have to and y'all, it's a daily challenge not to even give in to your thoughts or things or just past addictions or whatever that is, but to look in the mirror and like who you are. Um, like I love that song. I don't know who sings that song that says, "What kind of man would I be if
Mhm.
I lived unfaithfully?" Like, what kind of
Mhm.
man would I be, or what type of person would I be to myself? not what I look like to everybody else, right? Not what, but um, who am I going to be to myself, and then yeah, that's what daily does it for me, and it's yeah, it's that, and like you were talking about you and Julie, like tension, to kind of lean into it, whatever that looks like for y'all, to lean into it and not walk away. I think I told you all a couple of weeks ago when we were talking, Eric and I got into a spat, and we were right, when it gets right to that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and both of us can be like, F it,
Mm-hmm.
F it, and walk. I can go
Mm-hmm.
this way, she can go, both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right there at that moment. And I think about the moment to stop and breathe, in the presence of mind. I don't know, with the presence of mind to just say, okay, let's stop and kind of mirror each other in the moment, or talk about, you know what I mean? Or let's just not leave,
Mm-hmm.
Let's just, whatever. Let's just not walk out and leave. But I think all of us would be lying if we said we didn't get to that point, all that point. And so,
Right.
it causes, I think it causes us, it certainly causes me to dig for something deeper
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't in the past. And all it is like running away from yourself, right? You
Yeah.
leave relationships, divorce, leave relationships. You're really running away from yourself. And so, I think what keeps me too is facing self, and facing those things, and realizing that, I got parts of me that's fucked up too. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Well, it's recognizing those patterns for
Yeah.
me, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'll hit a wall, or we'll hit a wall mutually, like you and Erica did, right? And I'll be
Yeah.
like, why am I here again? This is the same thing that happened in my previous relationship. Why am I here again?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you keep seeking out
Yeah.
the same right? It reminds me so much, Spencer, of the Imago therapy, right? Like
That's right. That's
you
right.
keep looking. So Imago is the imaging, which is a whole mirror type therapy, right? And you actually partner with somebody who mirrors the parts of you that you need to heal, and you've got a choice there whether you're going to help each other heal and heal moving together forward, or you're going to retreat and go away, right? And so that's why I go to the self-reflection, because I'm often in those moments going, how am I here again? How am I having the same argument? How am I having... And it's because I never resolve those issues and I never address them, right? So they're going to keep showing up. And that's true of all of us, right? And we all have to do our individual work and bring that individual work to the relationship, and then figure out how to work together in that relationship,
Yeah.
It, I, and I don't know how deep we're trying to get here for our listeners, but
Hey man, go.
we're
go,
gonna go.
Go.
Spencer's in a lyrical mood today.
Yeah.
I realized something probably in the last maybe 4 years or so, give or take. Because I was asking myself that same question. How do I keep ending up at the same conversation or the same place or the same feeling? And I'm gonna throw a couple of things out here, and maybe it's gonna seem disjointed. I was at this lunch with this group of guys, and like, hey, let's go out to lunch. So we went out to lunch, and it was a beautiful day, and we're in Campus Martius Park, and we're sitting around talking, and then they just start going in on their significant others. They're just going in on them, and I chose not to join in. And the only thing I could offer to the conversation was, well, what would she say about you? And but that really was a conversation to myself because I was thinking like, do I join in on this or do I throw out the question for all of us? What would she say about you? And after I asked that, it got quiet. I mean, you could hear a pin drop at the table. It got quiet. And, but then I started thinking about like, what, what would she say about me? You know? Um, and one of the things that I think, you know, and it was revealed to me in a dream, um, that, we teach our kids a lot of different things. We teach them, the importance of education and the importance of being a good human. Um, and hopefully we teach them how to love and how to forgive. And I realized that I was never taught that. I was never taught how to actually love someone because it's a verb more so than it is a noun. Um, I was never taught how to actually love and never taught how to actually forgive, which I think is an essential part of love. Um, and and so I feel like my relationship with Tiff is teaching me both how to do that with her and how to love myself because you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself. And so um like, you know, 20 23 years into the relationship, I'm like coming to this realization, you know, um and I fail all the time at it. But I get back up and get back in the fight. And I think when people look at public figures like Sharon Moore or, other public figures, when they screw up, they think, oh, this person had everything. They had a beautiful wife and beautiful
That's
family
right.
and all this money and all this fame and fortune. That obviously it's not it.
That's not it.
It's not it. It's how you love yourself and how you project that love out to another. That's it right there. And you're gonna screw up, but to think that some external force is going to keep you from screwing up is false. And um it that's it for me. That's it. It's learning how to love myself and learning how to love her and learning how to love my kids and learning how to love other people that are in my circle.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's it.
Aaron.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that, man. I really, really, really feel that. Loving myself, because I can look back and I didn't love myself when I was in those relationships and couldn't and was running from myself, and I didn't love myself, and I could, as much as I tried to pretend and put on the face, I did not, because everywhere you go, there you are, because that pattern, the same pattern was showing up, and I was running from it, and I wasn't addressing it or healing it or letting it come up in me, and it just kept coming up. And so loving yourself, accepting yourself, loving yourself, and all that, this healing thing. And I'm gonna say one more thing, Nate, before you go, before you chime in, that mirroring thing you talked about is so huge, because a step further, I've been in spaces where they say sometimes that the mirroring that your mate is you're having with your mate mirrors the parent that you had the most issues with. So so you know what I mean? So some of those same things that are in you, that it's been there, it might have been with a parent as well. And so this person comes in a spiritual sense, right? To show you yourself, right? That, like you said, to show yourself, and so we can heal that. But everywhere you go, there you are, and so it's like you said, Aaron, 23 years. That's 16 years for me. They 14 years, something like that for you. It doesn't matter because it never ends.
Yeah.
It never really ends. You never get there.
Right.
It just never ends.
Right.
It never ends. The lessons never end.
Never.
No.
But I mean, I think that's what. So your original question is, how do you stay in a relationship?
Yeah.
It's also realizing and accepting that there isn't a moment, there isn't an end line or a finish line of like, okay, we figured it out and we made it. It is ever evolving. It never ends, and you have to work at it, right? So when people say marriage or relationships are constant work, and I'm going to apply this to friendships as well, they really are. They really are, and people have to invest. And, you know, like you both, I keep my circle quite small. And some of it's out of choice, but some of it's also because I want people in my life who put the work in, right? Who invest in the relationship, whether that's a intimate relationship or a family relationship or a friendship, because, you know, it doesn't mean I have to be rude and never talk to those who are just kind of superficial or, you know, touch-base people, but they're not my, they end up not being within my circle because I need that honest reflection and that constant growth together, right? It matters to me. It matters that the people in my life know me for who I am today and how I've evolved, and are willing to stay with me as I continue down my journey. Because I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and I don't think I should be, and I don't want to be. But I appreciate those who are willing to stick with me in the growth of it all, right? And in the journey of it all. I just really think that the way to stay in it is to exactly do that. It's to stay in it and to continue to invest. And even when you have those, you know, knockout fights, it is the choosing to stay, the choosing not to walk away, the choosing to continue to talk. Because they're all choices, and I can look back and say, I made different choices at different times. And maybe I made them for self-preservation. Maybe I made them because I was growing at a different rate than my partner was growing. Like, whatever the issue is, we all make choices. And I think I can look back at friendships and say, I have chosen to move on. I have chosen to distance myself. I've chosen to let that one just fall by the wayside. And I am really grateful for those, and that includes both of you. And I think that goes out saying for all of us, people who continue to show up for you in moments of growth, and in moments of evolution, because it's not an easy road. It's always evolving and always changing, right? Like, that's it. I hope I'm not the same person in 5 more years. I hope I can get to a space where, I was just telling somebody the other day, I just want to get to a space where I really can look at other people and find contentment for them in whatever they're doing. Because sometimes I still battle with, like, particularly for relationships that are engaged in work I used to do or in spaces I used to occupy, and look and go, but they're not doing this and they're not doing that, and I wish this would have happened, and it's because I'm not at peace, and I haven't released, right, and I feel incomplete there. And so I keep trying to do my own work of just letting it be and being okay with it being in whatever state it's in, and I moved on. And, you know, sometimes for me, I need that complete separation from that thing, right? Yeah. Like, I've had friendships where I need the complete break in order to return to them in a better, healthy space. And I can say the same for love relationships, right? Like my ex-husband and I, Felipe, you both know him, but Spencer, you know him better, are in a great space, but we needed a lot of time of, like, being our own separate people in our own space to get back to a place of mutual love and respect, you know.
Now I was about to start singing again, Let It Be. When you say let it
You're very musical today.
Let it be, let it be. So, Aaron, you were saying something about the article that you read that put out on social media, and I really meant it. That I'm very fortunate, very very fortunate, because I will tell anybody in a minute that Erica is brave with her emotions and brave with her feelings and brave with her love, and she's braver than me. I think in terms of outward expressions of that, because that wasn't part of, just wasn't part of my whole, emotional lexicon. It just wasn't. And but and well, let me say, and having that, is just, I can't even put a word on what that means, because that keeps me too. You know what I mean? In a way that it's me, and it's a choice. But as I always say, Erica is easy to love, and I try to make like, if you want to be loved, you have to make yourself lovable. And it doesn't mean people pleasing. It doesn't mean turning yourself into what someone else needs. But doing that work that you talk about, Naomi, emptying out those things, emptying out all that unforgiveness, or that, what they should have done, what they should say, all that, just emptying out and becoming empty where it's easy. Like Erica, we call her Easy E. And easy, that's what they call her, and we call it. And so, making ourselves easy to love, because the opposite of that is someone who puts up walls, so to speak, for whatever reason, or whatever those walls may look like, but it tears down. So, while many of my friends that I grew up with, they might even read the article, and many say this, that Spencer's becoming soft. He's becoming soft. He's not hard. We were hard. All that man stuff. But I'm glad that I'm becoming softer. Because
Amen to that.
yeah, it's like, a hard heart, being hard. It's it's all bullshit.
I think it's about redefining what being a man is, right? And not just, it doesn't mean that you can't also be strong and fierce and a fighter. It just means that you don't only have to be strong, a fierce, and a fighter, right? And women can be strong, but can also receive love and tenderness and grace, and it's not a sign of weakness, right?
Yes.
Like, so, I really shout out to my longtime friend Stephanie, Dr. Stephanie Rimka. She just released her book. So proud of her. I really recommend people read it. It's about receiving, and it's about leaning into the feminine power of receiving and being okay with what that is. And I think it's a good read for all of us, right? Like, it's not just a female read. So
No.
I really think we all need to learn that lesson, because as you said, Aaron, we can't love others until we love ourselves, but we also can't receive love until we love ourselves. And so, learning how to love yourself and learning how to receive the love that other people give you will just automatically soften you
It will.
and redefine who you are as a person. Yeah.
It will, Naomi. That's
And I know, Aaron, you wanted to break out in some Eazy-E song when Aaron.
I
saw it on your face.
Yeah.
You were cracking me up today.
He did light up a little bit.
I know, he's like, ooh,
when I said
Eazy-E,
that,
I'm gonna rap.
Easy.
No, that's not appropriate for this.
I was gonna say, that's why I advocate for myself first, becoming whole, because there's that masculine and feminine as the construct that we created.
Yes.
And I can say that, I've touched my, or accessed my feminine side. But even if you go beyond the construct, it's our wholeness, becoming whole, because most of us are taught, or certainly I was taught, to suppress that one side of me that had the characteristics that are, that we label feminine. But embracing it all and becoming whole, that's it. And so I don't know, but I think that that wholeness keeps me there too. That's that constant search for truth, and constant search, and that truth is an inward truth, inward journey, and to know that keeps me. And you know what? Still, I think all of us are like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Nope.
You don't know what's going to happen next week. You know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And so it almost like keeps you. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say when you were talking about that, like I started thinking about like even biologically, there's only one chromosome. There's only one chromosome.
Yeah.
It was so it we made up this social construct about what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman
Yeah.
based off of how control people and how you overpower people. And you know I grew up in that type of household, but when the women got me alone, they were like, this is how you treat a woman. Like this is what don't be like that. That they would say, you don't want to be like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was the right approach, but it also it gave me another perspective. And so that's why I hopefully am more cognizant of when that that patriarchal sort of thing rises up in me. Like I can feel it, and I can like when I say it, as soon as it dances off my lips, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I was a very sensitive kid growing up,
Yeah.
very sensitive, and I was, among all boys and among, these really toxic men. It didn't fare well, and I was called all types of names, and I'm like, why, why are people saying these things? Because I don't go around smacking people up, or because I'm not stomping people down, and because I don't like football, or whatever the case may be. Like, and so I think it's left up to us, people who are more in touch with who we are, to do what we're doing right now, is to have these types of conversations. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, is to be in community with those people, to say, and I'm just using this as an example, hey Spencer, that wasn't cool what you said, man. Like when you said that wasn't cool, bro.
Yeah.
And be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if the person takes it the wrong way, then you did your part. You did what you were supposed to do in love and truth and honor, because we're not gonna grow if we don't do that. One gentleman, I think he's from Detroit, Jason Wilson. Are you familiar with?
Yeah.
I love his approach on how he's helping to redefine masculinity from younger boys. And because he knows how we've been programmed. I don't know what got me going on this particular, but he knows how we've been programmed, and not to say that he's reprogramming them, but giving boys another perspective.
And again, teaching them how to be soft and strong simultaneously,
Yeah.
right? And those are lessons we all need, because I think the pendulum swings. We see it, that the only way to counter something is to go in the exact opposite direction. But as we know, if all you do is hit a pendulum hard, it's just going to swing the other way and keep swinging. It doesn't actually move it, right? So, yeah, it's a tricky dance, this whole, ride of relationships and navigating the world, particularly when there are so many outside forces pushing in on you. But if you can stay grounded in yourself, in who you are, figure out how to establish daily routines, to love yourself, and to give love to others, then you will have more productive, healthy relationships in the end as well.
Absolutely.
Were you finished, Aaron, talking about Jason when you were talking about Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That amazes me. Both of you all were talking, gave voice to it. How many people, and this is probably a whole nother podcast, but how many people choose to stay in this binary? You know what I mean? Choose to stay in these roles. Because young people now are like resisting, resisting being put into categories. You know what I mean? They're resisting that, and I think many of us who are in the older generation are having a hard time letting that go. But it hasn't worked for us. It's not working for us. You know what I mean? To just people can say what they want, but to I don't care if it's gender, race. It just that the separation just doesn't and hasn't worked for us. And I'm not talking about how you want to show up in your but it just doesn't work for us. When you talk about the one chromosome and you come back to this idea of oneness and you look at somebody, Sharon Moore's us. You know what I mean? When you look at it, he's not separate from us because he fucked up. You know what I mean? No one's separate up because they do. You know what I mean? We all have experienced that and done that, man. So back to Go ahead, Aaron. You were saying something?
No, I was just agreeing with which. Yeah.
So anyway, that what keeps us there and what keeps us true to ourselves and true to a relationship and true to ourselves basically is to love ourselves, I think, and to do that inward work, and that's a daily work. Naomi, people don't want to do that work.
No,
many people don't because it's hard.
It is. Hard. It's so much. That's why people, deflect and project onto others so much, because that is a much easier path. And I truly believe that for a lot of people, the work of looking in the mirror is so incredibly scary and could be so incredibly painful that they avoid it at all costs because they couldn't handle, they think they couldn't handle what they would find, right? And so they deflect and they project onto others. And again, like I said, we model that as a country all the time. And across so many ways, across so many mediums, across so many relationships, we project a lot. And I say the collective we, not necessarily us. I feel like work harder, not smarter comes to mind when it's like that approach. And I'm all for work smarter, not harder, right? So like work smarter by doing the work of yourself. Because it's actually less work than all the energy that it goes to project onto others. Like, it's the whole, like, how many muscles does it take to smile versus frown, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it takes so much energy to constantly be projecting and finding fault and pointing out. I will say that there's a fine line, for me at least, I find. People are so adverse to hearing truth and to being reflective that when you speak truth sometimes, it happens to me a lot. I'll be confronted with, well, I'm not just trying to find problems, I'm a solution-oriented person. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If all you're doing is trying to find solutions without unpacking what is, you're destined to continue to repeat issues because you refuse to unpack. Mm-hmm. And so there's this fine line between finding someone who's just bitching and complaining about things all the time and who's truly like, wait a minute here, this isn't working. Can we look at what's going on and why, we keep missing this instead of just, haha, let's go forward. And so that's something I struggle with helping other people to understand, because I will say that as a truth teller, I'm often confronted with others who are like, why do you always have to be a downer? Why do you always have to look at the negative? Why do you always have to point out what's wrong? Why can't we think about, and I'm never doing it just to complain. I'm doing it because it's part of my process to unpack what we have in front of us so that we can do it better and differently moving forward, But so everybody's truth telling sounds different and looks different, and it's cautionary to our listeners and to each other to not conflate truth telling with some like idyllic prophet or wisdom teller. It's oftentimes comes through criticism and critique, and that's okay as well, right? But I think that we need to consider why we're so ready to do the hard work and not the smart work. Because the smart work would be to do our own work first.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I'll want to. You said something, man, that made me think about this balance, because I know this is kind of what's kept our relationship, from my standpoint, true and stay there, is to balance the truth telling with sometimes silence, because I know that sometimes in relationships, the success of the relationship can come from just as much from what I don't say, from what I do say. Because sometimes, just because you can say something doesn't mean you should say it.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That means
Sure.
you just keep your mouth shut, be slow to speak, quick to listen. Is that going to be fruitful to say? Especially when you're, you know what I mean, in the midst of that. I mean, balancing. It's just work to balance all that.
Shout out to Valeda Sargent, Aaron.
Yeah.
Do I need to say it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or does this need to be said?
Yeah.
Does it need to be said now? And does it need to be said by me?
That's right. That's right.
It's like Valeda's mantra. So
That-
Valeda, if you're
yeah.
listening, because she's one of our subscribers,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a shout out to you.
No, man, shout out to her. You can end on that one. I know, Aaron. Anything else? I got a quote, but I know. I see your mind, man. I see you going.
Yeah.
You're thinking.
Yeah, I'll just say this, that when you said that quote, I often use those three questions, and I fail probably 60 to 80% of the time, even though I ask myself those questions. But getting used to the questioning of myself, and that's that holding up of that mirror. And so this idea that we have the answer and we're always right, or we're gonna it if if in relationship with someone, what we say and what we do can add to that person's life, and I'll shut up after I say this, can add to that person's life, and if it seeks to help them get closer to self-actualization, then that's the goal. That's the goal. Not that you deny yourself, but that you in seeking in relationship with another person, you are lifting that person up.
Yeah, I like it. So I was thinking about this. We started coming full circle now, and think about this Sherrod Moore thing we've been talking about, and all these things that are out here. He lost 12 million, 30 million. What he lost and stuff, and I think we all should just send him and everybody who's involved in that good energy in learning and stuff like that, because it's a tough moment for all, and that could go left, and so I really think we should. And so I just saw this quote, when you think about what being untrue, whether it's untrue to himself, his mate, whoever, being untrue to cost is costing him a lot. It's costing him a lot. But this quote says, simple quote: unknown author, the truth doesn't cost you anything. The truth doesn't cost you anything. And so, for all of our listeners, just stay in your truth, find your truth, and continue to evolve. And I'll turn it over to you to close it out, and we will see you next time. You're on mute.
Good catch. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
our listeners have a wonderful end to this calendar year, a healthy start to the next one. And whatever holidays or celebrations you may partake in, may they be blessed and may they be full of love. And I just want to thank both of you for a great year. And I look forward to a wonderful, start to the new year
Yes.
in January.
Yes, same.
Yes,
Same.
yes, yes.
You all are wonderful. Appreciate you both.
Thank you, man. So until next time, everybody, stay balanced, keep healing, and keep evolving, even in 2026. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace out.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
This episode of Endless Evolution is brought to you by the No Harm Organization, uplifting wholeness and humanity. Our featured music is Humanity by Lava Laru.